Well, hello there, I'm Détroit. Today we are drawing in a sketchbook again. This is a Moleskine sketchbook and I'm using a cross fountain pen to draw. This is my favorite fountain pen, even though my experience is quite limited. I think I will buy a new pen at some point soon. I want to explore different brands. Anyway, the idea for today's drawing is simple. Something I love in art, be it digital or abstract ink doodles, is contrast. I think contrast makes a drawing so much more interesting. In this doodle, the contrast resides in the opposition between hard, angular rectangles all over the page and the organic shape filling the space within the rectangles. I had the idea of filling the shapes with a continuous loop, a wide curve that would enter each rectangle, then leave for the next one. The idea is very simple. In fact, the drawing itself is very simple, but the result looks good in my opinion. Before I continue talking about this drawing, I want to take this opportunity to talk about an upcoming video. For a while, I've been wanting to make a guide to abstract ink doodles. I want to cover basically everything about it: shapes, patterns, techniques, etc. I want it to be a useful guide for beginners that want to get started, as well as more experienced artists looking for interesting ideas. So please use the comment sections of this video to ask me all the questions you have about abstract doodles. I want to make this as exhaustive as I can, so with your help, hopefully I won't forget some aspects of it. Alright, back to the drawing at hand. There are different things to consider while making a drawing like this. Some people think that abstract art of this kind is all about the pattern. While it's mostly true, I would also like to call attention to the overall shape or silhouette. You may have the best pattern ever drawn, simply filling a square with it might look bad. I've made that mistake before, entirely filling a page of my sketchbook with a pattern. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes when looked at from afar it can look bland and boring. For example, scrolling on your Instagram feed, if you go a bit too fast you will only see a grey square if you don't pay attention to the intricacy of the pattern. So making an interesting shape with your drawing helps draw attention. Then the viewer's eye will linger on it, and then they will see the beauty of your pattern. It's like silhouetting. If you've ever been interested in character design, the silhouette is very important. All the best known characters are recognizable from their silhouette alone. It's like that "who's that Pokemon" thing. Why do you think that is? It's because the silhouette alone needs to be interesting. Our human eyes are drawn to the silhouette because we see both the positive and the negative space at the same time. For an abstract drawing, it's even simpler because you don't have to make the silhouette make sense necessarily. As long as it's interesting, it's already a bonus. In this drawing you can see that there are straights and angles around the rectangles, but also curves for the lines connecting them. That contrast is what the eyes like to see. To make it even more interesting, even the rectangles make a good shape. Some rectangles are on top of others, so it's not just floating squares here and there. Some are thin and elongated, some horizontal and some vertical. It's variety that makes it work. To contrast with that, although the rectangles are on different planes, the organic loop that goes through them is very flat. The loop doesn't go under when the rectangle goes under. It is constrained by the borders. It's the complexity that's hidden behind a very simple drawing idea that makes it work, I think. I'm not an expert on the subject at all, but this is the process I quickly went through in my head when I was imagining making this drawing. It's not hard to think about things like that, and it's worth doing if your goal is to show the drawing to people. Now, to be fair, most of the time when I draw an abstract pattern of any kind, I don't really actively think about all that. The more I draw, the less I have to think about it. It's all a question of experience, I guess. A lot of the time, I don't talk about all these thoughts that go into making an artwork because it's a lot of the same. This is a drawing I could have explained in 3 sentences. But I still need to make this video last more than 20 seconds, so I figured I would rack my brain and put into words what is usually just floating somewhere at the back of my brain. My point is, you don't need all that logic and deep thinking to make cool art. Just enjoy the process and have fun. That would be the best advice. In any case, like I told you, I plan on making a complete guide to abstract doodles, so in the future you will have to just watch that video to become a master at it. That's a good reason to subscribe, by the way. You know, maybe I could even make an art book out of it. Not now, or anytime soon, because I probably don't have enough material, but I will start thinking about it. A couple dozen pages of patterns with explanations on how they're built, and a lot of tips and tricks to make cool looking art. Now that I have an Instagram page just for my ink doodles, at Détroit_ink, All of these random nonsenses are starting to organize in my brain. I start to see my own collection of artworks in a different light, drawing parallels between some of them. It's kinda cool to see all these different patterns next to each other. Some are kinda similar, some are very different. Go have a look if you enjoyed this sort of drawing. A lot of what I see on Instagram is just pages of people drawing mostly the same type of thing over and over. It's nice in a way because you can recognize the artist just by looking at an artwork, but I feel like it gets old quickly. Pages that draw Zentangles only draw Zentangles. Pages that do mandala art only do mandala art. I draw everything. I have a ton of patterns on my own, but I also take inspiration everywhere. Steal a pattern somewhere, then twist it a bit to make it my own, and so on. I hadn't planned on talking that much, but abstract art is just fascinating, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and ask me all your questions related to abstracting drawings in the comments. Subscribe to be sure you won't miss the upcoming guide to doodling video, and once again check out my Instagram. I'm Detroit and it was fun talking to you. Bye!